Good morning, friends. I am Patty Elhoff, the author of Upcycle with Decoupage. And today I'd like to show you how we can take a clear glass plate and turn it into a Christmas decoration, just like this one. And before we get started, I want to add that the most common question I get is people ask me where I get the napkins that I use, and I get them through my own website. The link is down below, and my website goes through Amazon. So if you've got Amazon Prime, all of the same benefits and features apply. You also don't have to order just what I put on my page. You can do all of your Amazon shopping through my website. So with that said, here's how we'll get started on this plate. Now our napkins are normally 3-ply, sometimes they're 2-ply, which means they have 2 or 3 separate layers of paper. So we're going to separate our napkin and we're going to throw away only the bottom piece, but we will need one white piece, the plain white piece, and then the surface piece, or the piece with the pattern on the napkin. So I'm laying the napkin down flat and I am taking embossing ink, and the difference between this embossing ink pad and a pigment ink pad is that the embossing ink is meant to be used with embossing powder. If you use pigment ink, it will not hold the powder. So I wanted a nice glittery snowflake on here, and I'm just putting the embossing ink, the stamp into the embossing ink, and I'm placing it down on my napkin. Then I am putting the embossing powder over this surface, and I am taking my heat gun and I'm going to blow this dry, heat it, melt it, so that it turns into these pretty little snowflakes that can then be decoupaged onto our surface. By the way, I did try to emboss directly onto the plate. It wipes right off the glass, so that doesn't work. You do need to use the napkins, but it's a beautiful effect. And you'll see that once this paper goes onto the plate. And let me just recap this really quickly in case you're not familiar with embossing. You place your stamp down, put some embossing ink on it, place the stamp down, pour some embossing powder over it, shake off the excess and put the excess back into your jar. And then you just take your heat gun, and it's got to be a heat gun. You can't use a blow dryer with this. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take a regular paintbrush and we're going to wet it with water and go around those images that we just embossed, and we're going to pull all of those away. And we're going to put these aside to dry, and now we'll get back to work on the plate. And by the way, because this is napkin paper and it is so thin, it dries all on its own, probably within about a whole 5 to maybe 10 minutes. And now we're going to take the napkin, and this is called reverse decoupage. And what that means is it is going to go on the back of a plate so that you can see through it. Regular decoupage would mean you're doing it on the top of the plate, but what I'm doing is laying the plate down over the napkin. Now you can cover the whole plate with one napkin if you'd like, but that is not what I'm working on today. I am not covering the whole plate with this napkin. I am taking this center ball and I'm going to cut it out, and I'm going to place those embossed napkins all around the outside. So you would ideally like your embossing powder to match 1 or 2 of the colors that are in your napkin. So this center ball is what I'm going to use, so I'm going to cut this out, and I'm using these small curved scissors. Again, all of this is on my website, and I'm cutting this out a little bit roughly at first just because it makes it a lot easier to give it a nice smooth cut when I'm done. So I'm now going to cut this out, get rid of all of this excess around the side. And This is the front of the plate, but I just want to place the ball. This is kind of practice. I want to place it first where I think I'm going to want it, and then decoupage it after. And again, plate's going to flip over, image is going to flip over, and we're going to do this on the back. And I'm going to decoupage the ball right in the center. And someone asked me a question that I'm sorry I didn't clarify this last week. They asked me why I was decoupaging this way, which is instead of applying any decoupage glue, I applied the napkin dry and then put the decoupage glue over it in the center. And that is because on smaller objects like this, when the napkin is smaller, it is actually easier and it's much nicer. You work from the center out with your decoupage glue, and I am using a gloss decoupage glue here. It doesn't matter really if it is gloss or matte, but I am using a gloss decoupage glue, and this removes the wrinkles. It's very quick, but I only recommend this when you're working on smaller pieces of napkin, not the whole napkin or the larger pieces. Then it gets complicated. So that's why I'm doing that this particular way. And if you prefer, you can do it the old-fashioned way, which is you can apply the decoupage glue, but I really only want to apply the decoupage glue over the napkin, not the whole plate. This is a wet cloth I'm using, and I'm going all around the ball, and I'm removing the excess decoupage glue here. Now, once this is dried, I'm taking the napkins that I did the embossing on, and I'm just going to do a dry run to see where I would like to decoupage these. And I'm going to decoupage them using that same technique. You want to make sure that your embossed part of the napkin is facing forward. It's okay to overlap on the sides because when this dries, we're just going to file all of that away with the nail file. And you place these sporadically all around the plate. You do not have to cover the whole back because we are going to also paint the back to really make the napkin and these snowflakes pop. Once this plate dries, and I'll show you this in a moment, we're going to file away all of those excess edges. There's one thing I want to mention. Out of the hundreds of questions that I get, once in a while I'll get a comment almost demanding that I slow the video down. And I personally have a pet peeve about when I'm watching videos and someone goes, they go in real time for something like this, like if they're filing or they're using the heat gun, and I think to myself, okay, I know how to use a heat gun. I don't want to wait 3 minutes until your project dries. So if you've got any questions, please be specific and let me know what you needed me to slow down. I'm happy to help you out. Now I am taking some white metallic paint, and metallic tends to not work on glass, but I am going to pounce this, and I'm using a pouncer all over the back to go over the napkins just to start with, because the white is going to cause these to stand out, but this paint is also sheer, so it's going to let the napkin stand out but still have enough sheerness so that the colors that I put in back of it are going to stand out. So I'm pouncing this white iridescent color all around the back, and the iridescence gives the plate this lovely Christmassy type of look. So I'm going to just go all around this area, and then I'm going to let this dry. It also dries very quickly. And once this dries, I am taking my new favorite products. I love these Maya gold paints, and they work on glass. There's actually other techniques we can do with these that I'll be showing you in upcoming videos. But I am taking colors that match my napkin, and I'm going to pounce these 3 colors over the back of my now decoupaged plate. You see how these colors are already in the napkin? And I'm shaking up these bottles a little bit, or these little jars. And I am then going to pounce these colors on, kind of on the diagonal. You can do this any way you would like to. These colors blend beautifully, they look beautiful, they're perfect over glass. I can't tell you how excited I am to have found these products. Thank you, Bianca, for helping me with this. These things are just beautiful. And again, they're on my website. You don't want to pounce too much because you may pull away some of your papers. So once you let this dry, you do need to spray a coat of, I would recommend Zemser cover stain for glass. Now I'll put that on my website, but we want to still make this pop a tiny bit more. This will also protect the plate. You don't ever want to put this in the dishwasher. However, you can use this plate for food because all of the work is on the back. Now, I would not suggest submerging these in water, but if you'd like to place cookies on them and then just clean off the surface, you can do that. And here's how this looks. Now that we've got everything decoupaged, painted, spray painted on the back, here's our completed plate, and I'll show it to you in a few different lights. Look at these paints. I love how these paints look through this glass plate. It is really pretty. I hope you guys like today's project, and in the meantime, Upcycle with Decoupage is on Facebook. If you go over and like and follow the page, you'll be notified every week when I put a new video out. And thank you so much for your subscriptions. It's a huge help to me when you subscribe to my YouTube channel. And thank you for all of your questions and comments. I can't get back to you right away, but I do usually get back to you within a couple of days. Have a very happy and safe Thanksgiving, and I will see you guys next week with another video. Thanks again, guys. Bye-bye.